if he was searching or pleading with the choppy waves that danced against the stone pier. "You still hope she'll come back?" Marek nodded, opened his mouth to speak, then decided against it, and headed back into the smithy. "Did you sell the sickle we made last week?" asked Steiner, keen to change the subject from an absent mother, an absent wife. Marek nodded but said nothing. Steiner was well used to his father's silences. "Strange time of year to harvest herbs. Who bought it?"
"One of the fishermen."
Marek cleared his throat.
"I don't remember now."
Steiner frowned and pulled off his thick leather gloves. In a town this small, they knew every customer by name. The sale of a sickle was no small matter and would bring some much-needed coin. He opened his mouth to press for an answer, but the latch on the door rattled and his father nodded towards it.
"I wondered where Kjell had got to,"
said Marek. The door to the smithy creaked as Kjellrun pushed the heavy wood aside. She stepped forward into the furnace's glow. Small for her age, she looked closer to 12 than her 16 years. Her tunic was overlong, reaching her knees, while her breeches were patched many times. Steiner's hand-me-downs. All their coin was spent on food and supplies for the smithy. Money for clothes was scarce.
"Would it kill you to pull a brush through your hair before you go to school?"
said their father with a slow smile.
"She does a fine impression of a rusalka,"
said Steiner, noting the driftwood and black feathers she clutched. Treasures from the beach, no doubt.
"You said you don't believe in the old tales,"
replied Kjellrun. Steiner shrugged.
"That may be, but I'm still halfway convinced you're one of them." "There are worse things than rusalka," replied Kjellrun. "A ship has just arrived in the bay." "We were out there not more than a minute ago," replied Steiner. "See for yourself if you think I'm a liar," she replied, jutting her chin with an obstinate look in her eye.
"I'd rather start preparing dinner if it's all the same to you,"
said their father. He looked away, unwilling to meet their eyes.
"A ship in the bay means the Empire."
"And that means a troika of vigilants,"
said Steiner, feeling the familiar fear the Holy Synod evoked.
"Perhaps not."
Kjell eyed both of them.
"Not this time. You'll want to see this." "Did Uncle Werner bet you could lure us down to the bay?" Steiner asked as they followed the rutted track that led to the coastal road. "I haven't seen him in days," replied Kjellrun, her eyes fixed on the blue-grey swell of the sea. Something between mist and rain dampened their spirits even as curiosity kindled inside them.
"There it is,"
said Marek, pointing a finger. The bay rarely saw anything larger than fishing boats. No one put in at Vinterkveld to trade. Only when the Sommerender Ocean sent vicious storms did captains seek the safe haven of the drab town. "A ship," said Steiner. "A frigate, I reckon. Though why you cared to paint it red is anyone's guess."
"You reckon right," said their father. "It's a frigate, but not like I've seen before."
They continued to walk down to the bay, past cottages arranged in curving rows, down the narrow cobbled road that wended its way to the shore. The Spurkle Sea rushed over the shingle beach in a hushed roar, leaving trails of foam and seaweed as the water retreated once again. Steiner studied the sleek ship as it lay at anchor, sails stowed like folded wings. The sailors aboard were ant-sized at this distance, and just as busy. The whole vessel was dark red from prow to stern, while the figurehead jutted from the front in forbidding black, wings outstretched along the hull.
"What is that?" muttered Steiner. "It's a crow," replied Kjellrun. "After Say or Venter, I expect."
Steiner frowned.
"More of your folk tales, I suppose. Say and Venter belong to Freyna. They're her crows."
"It's not an imperial ship, then,"
said Marek.
"You know how they feel about the old gods," added Steiner. "Goddess, not god. Freyna is a goddess."
Kjellrun rolled her eyes.
"Of winter, wisdom, and death."
Other families had appeared at the doorways of cottages or emerged from the few shops to see the dark red ship. Parents held their children close, and anxious glances were traded.
"All the imperial ships are in the south," said Marek, "harassing Shannisrond or escorting cargo ships up the Ashen Gulf."
"Perhaps they're pirates,"
said Steiner with a smile, nudging his sister. Kjellrun looked over the town and wrinkled her nose.
"How much do you think they'd give me for a half-trained, half-wit blacksmith?"
"Just because I can't read doesn't make me a half-wit," said Steiner through gritted teeth.
"If they are pirates, they're not trying very hard,"
said Marek.